Hello, and welcome to the Positivity Vibe Tribe space. Today I am joined by Success Minded, and we are talking about thoughts become things. Okay. Hey, welcome, Pedro. I just opened up the space, and I'm just going to start setting up. So just enjoy the music for the moment, and I am going to set this up very soon. Welcome everyone. Enjoy the music while I set up this space. Welcome everyone. We're just getting set up in the space. Take a look up in the nest. I've just posted a few things. Hey, welcome. Welcome, Success Minded. I'm just getting you up with the mic. How are you?
I'm good. Am I working?
Yes. It's a little bit of, I'm just trying to hear, it's a little bit of static. I'm picking up on your line. That's it. Perfect. Really, yeah. Okay. Hey, welcome to everybody in the space. I just see Lance and Karen have arrived. Zakia, Nola, Coffee Bean, Mark. Hey, okay, everyone is arriving in the space. Warm welcome. We're going to invite people up a little bit later. So if you could just hold off, we just set up the space, so there's nothing really to talk about at this moment, because I've just loaded up the nest. And success minded, is there anything that you would like to post in the nest that I can post up there for you, or you can post up there? Let me know.
I'm posting a few things today.
Okay, perfect. All right. So welcome everybody to the space. Today we're talking about thoughts become things. So super excited to start on this topic. It's definitely a favorite topic of many of us because of the origins. All right. So just let me get one more thing set up here. How's the music level? Success minded?
That's good. You can bring it a bit closer, if you want people to just hear the music, or you can take it far away if you want people to hear you too.
Okay. I'll leave it on for a little while and then I'll turn it off once in a couple of minutes when we start getting underway. Thanks so much. Okay, everybody. The chat is open. So the chat is the bubble down on the right-hand side. So do check that out. Yeah, I've just put a welcome note in the chat, and I already see the chat is lighting up. So everybody, don't be shy. Get into the chat. Enjoy yourselves. And today's topic is all about thoughts become things. So we are going to make a start. Now, there are a couple of things up in the nest, and when I say up in the nest, I mean the dots above the space that you can stroll back and forth. So I'm going to start on the far right-hand side, and we may even add things into the nest as we go, and we'll let you know. So the very first thing up in the nest is the actual YouTube show, Thoughts Become Things, that I created. That's under 10 minutes. After that is thank you so much to our sponsors, Wordsmith Pakistan. Their information is up there, and they do create amazing content creation. And then after that is the link to the Positivity Vibe Tribe community. If you're not already a member, and I see many members here, then head up to the nest and click on the link, or you can send me a DM and I'll send you an invite. And hey, up there, Success Minded has posted a quote up there, so do check that out. That's already up there, and we may even add more things. Okay, Success Minded, what do you say we make a start? Because it looks like the room is starting to get loaded up.
I'm ready as ever. Let's do
All
this.
right, amazing. Okay, I'm just going to turn down the music, and then we're going to be ready. Okay, welcome everybody to the Positivity Vibe Tribe space. I'm Indra Bartona, a producer in the film and television industry and a host and founder of the Positivity Vibe Tribe. Originally from Australia, lived in London, now based in Los Angeles. So the Positivity Vibe Tribe started last year in June with a YouTube show, and now we've brought it to, it's been on the Twitterverse because of the fact that it bridges the gaps between all social media platforms, and it brings full engagement with all of you. So today we are joining forces. Today is the start of a new Thursday series where the Positivity Vibe Tribe joins forces with Success Minded. So our mission of supporting and growing the community is perfectly aligned, plus the essence of the content of our accounts work wonderfully in harmony. So on that note, Success Minded is a 20-year-old writer, university student, and motivator. His goal is to uplift and inspire people to become the best version of themselves. And he's grown his account to well over 580,000 members over a span of 2 years by writing unique content and motivating people. And Success Minded is a lifelong learner and is always looking to grow himself mentally, physically, and intellectually. And while he grows, he makes sure he takes his community on the path of growth as well. So, on that note, official welcome to Success Minded for this amazing space and discussion on Thoughts Become Things.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be doing this again. I'm really excited for today's topic. Thoughts become things, manifestation. It's something I've experienced in my life, and I've deeply studied. And so I'm really, I really think today we could hopefully inspire a few people to manifest things into their life as well. So I'm really excited, and yeah, let's do this.
Awesome. So, I want to just start by just kind of setting a little bit of the premise for the topic. I mean, success minded, so many gurus out there believe our thoughts are heavily influenced by our environment and growing up, and they always allude to and reference how powerful our thoughts are. I mean, not just a handful of gurus, but so many have made this point. And I just love to start on that premise of the discussion of how powerful this is and why. I mean, so many people point this out, just the power of our thoughts.
Yeah, indeed, thoughts are powerful. I mean, we as in our language, we think of thoughts in our society. We think of thoughts as something that is in a different realm than us. That we are in a physical realm, and our thoughts are in the mental realm, as per se. But in reality, if you think about it, if you think about it really hard, you realize thoughts are actually real things. And to prove my point, let me pull up something author Muriel Mary uh, put up on her blog. You know, thoughts actually, if you think about it, thoughts can be smelled. How? Think of perfumes. The maker of the perfume initially had an idea, which he put into action. Therefore, we can smell his idea. We can smell the thought he once had in his mind. How cool is that? Another thing, thoughts can be shared. Think of books, right? And a writer can write, could put his thoughts into words, which can be which can be shared with the medium of books, which can be shared with the medium of articles, and just through social media. I mean, think about it. I'm sharing my thoughts right now with you guys, and you're listening. And by the end of it, those thoughts might influence you to actually do something. Again, thoughts can also be bought or sold. In case of Silicon Valley, there are ideas that are being sold by by founders, which are bought by investors, by other businessmen, right? The and also, just in case of books again, books are bought and sold. Books are written, they are sold. So you're buying into an idea of somebody. Again, and lastly, she says that thoughts can create your reality. And ain't that true? I mean, think about it. Every moment in your life, every action that you took was uh, was was preceded by a thought. You thought of something, then you did something. Of course, sometimes we do something without we do things without thinking. That's a different thing. Most of the things you do, there is a thought process behind it. You think of something, something is going to happen, or uh, that you must take this action to make something else happen, or for something good or something bad. You take that action. Thoughts, because of those actions, you're here today, listening to this, listening to us speak, and I mean, all the thoughts you had in the past, they all have contributed to you being here today at this stage in your life. So I do believe that thoughts are real things which shape and influence our lives at every step of the way. And if you want to change your future, if you want to change what's coming in your life, it all begins with changing your thoughts today, making them better, making them positive, and these thoughts eventually are going to contribute to you taking better actions and hence having a better future to come. What do you think, Indra?
I have to agree with everything that you just mentioned, and I love that example of even the perfume example. So, success minded, that is something that I think we even almost overlook, that our thoughts can be impacted by our senses. And then, so maybe even, okay, so what about, the just if we're eating something, a certain flavor of something brings you back to a childhood memory, a fond childhood memory, or maybe it provokes something that's negative by eating something, or by smelling something, by using more of our senses. So our thoughts are really incredible on that level when you think about um, this piece that you also just introduced, of that our thoughts are so powerful that they're just not limited to our mind, but they're influenced by so many external things. And on that note, it's pretty interesting that many of us are on this path of leading a happier, more joyful, and positive life. That's what we want, because the way that our minds are configured, the majority of our thoughts are negative, on any moment, in any day, because predominantly the average of, say, between 50 and 70,000 thoughts, which is incredibly overwhelming, right, for anybody to think about, uh, per day, is just so, the balance. We're kind of wrestling with ourselves on a daily basis, I almost think, because of that fact of the imbalance of our thoughts. And so it has to be a conscious effort to create, the more positive thoughts, to be on that path, on not just a daily basis, but on a moment to moment basis. And there's no way that we are able to track every single one of those thoughts and acknowledge and bring them to our awareness. So that's why I almost feel this topic is so powerful. And I just also want to introduce this idea of our self-talk, and how that is a part, such a big part of us. Um, there was actually, I think it was the second video on creating positive moments that I did, and there was actually a huge, like, there was this little um, gremlin on my shoulder whispering sweet nothings into my ear, like a visual. And I think that that visual in itself adds to exactly that moment, of when we are sitting there and we have self doubt, that voice in our head. And I think that's something that's consciously, that's really brought to my conscious about, wow, I have to be mindful of self talk because of the power of it that it has on us, and because it is just something that is there. Success minded. Over to you.
Yeah, just to piggyback to one of the points you make about we our brain thinking negative thoughts. I mean, it's I read it somewhere or I heard it somewhere. It's natural. It was a part of our evolution back in the day when humans were in the wild and we didn't know about something or something was new. It was always believed that it could be fatal to us, right? Because if we didn't have that negative thought process, we could run into something that could ultimately either kill us or leave us handicapped, which is at that point in time it was probably death. All right, so it every mistake we make, every every fear we uh, every fear we basically discarded, it could mean life or death. But today, that's not the case. We live in a society which is filled with abundance, right? There is nothing that the society lacks. We live in a so the reason we live in a society is for safety, right? So that even if we make mistakes, it isn't fatal. Like so that we're civilized and we can live long, happy lives. So to adapt to this society, you have to change your hunter-gatherer prehistoric mind to suit this modern living lifestyle. You have to embrace a mindset of positivity, of looking at things in the light of abundance, looking at things like they're not scarce, right? So, yeah, I mean, if you want to thrive in today's society, you have to think of things uh, as something you have to think of, let's say, mistakes as something that are not fatal, as the unknown as something just to be explored, not as something that might kill you. So when you have negative thoughts in your mind, just know it's natural. It's just your prehistoric brain working as it should. But you have to work on making it adjust to the current scenario. You have to basically self evolve your brain to the modern century, to the modern times. And the way to do that, as Indra said, is positive self talk. Like, let me give you an example from my life. I, in the beginning, I never thought I would create a Twitter account, a Twitter community so big, right? It, I think it's the biggest community in self development among the anonymous creators. Of course, there are bigger communities like Tony Robbins and Gary Vaynerchuk. Those are the greats. But among the anonymous community, I probably have the biggest community. But in the beginning, I never thought I would go anywhere, and that's completely natural. Like when you don't know the path, I did, like I didn't back in the day when I started, it's natural for doubts to crop up. But as I started figuring things out, as I started knowing what the journey looks like and what the end result looks like, I started to visualize the end result, like what would it look like to be at the stage of like Tony Robbins or Bob Proctor or uh, people that were popular at the time, Dan Locke or Grant Cardone. I would imagine what would life be like at their level, and then I started, uh, basically visualizing and started a sort of self-talk that I could do it, I could make it. Every day I would say to myself, I'm going to reach 100,000 followers. I'm going to reach 100,000 followers. Just even if I say it one time a day, you know, the amount of time it took to reach 100,000 followers, about 1.5 years, it was all worth it in the end, And if you think about it, 1.5 years is about 900 days. I mean, no, no, not 900. About 500, 450 days. So 450 times I repeated it at least 3 or 4 times a day. That's a big number. And as I repeated to myself, I rewired my brain in thinking. It went from going, I went from thinking I wouldn't make it or will I make it? So I'm going to make it. It's just a matter of when, right? It's just a matter of when. And I did make it in the end, right? I self-talk into my self-talk myself into it, and I visualized that moment of when I make it, how my life is going to look like. So yeah, those things help. And would you like to add something else to it, Indra?
Oh, I loved your example. It was so lifelike and real, and we could all, I mean, it was just so relatable. And I think this is exactly what the essence of thoughts become things. And it's so amazing that you mentioned Bob Proctor, because I was just thinking about Bob Proctor, in fact, and Tony Robbins is incredible too. Both inspiring on so many levels for me as well, and their content and everything that they create and do. But Bob Proctor developed so much of his foundational ideas. I mean, that, and the late Bob Proctor, I should say, in respect to such an amazing person and role model. But he created this foundational ideas globally on the simple and powerful quote from Buddha: "Thoughts become things." I mean, this is just the simplicity of this and the power of this. And your example of setting your mind, to this goal and then creating all the positive things that you have to do as a foundation and a support to get on the journey, like in the process of the journey, as you described, and not only do that, but actually arrive, at the other side of it and still be, and still have more aspirations, more goals, and to be just growing at that incredible rate. So kudos to you, success minded, on so many levels, because that is really incredible. And I mean, there is so much depth. And that's why so many of these inspirational speakers, if you want to call them gurus, base their teachings on this powerful premise of thoughts become things. As in on so many examples, it can assist and support your personal growth on just a daily level and bring so much to us. Um, and when we actually turn our self-awareness and turn the switch on, and that's what I'd like to say. Also, in your example, you had to turn a switch on to bring your mindset to a certain state, that now you were going to introduce certain thoughts, certain goals, certain visualizations to support that path, to be on the path to this goal. And it doesn't happen overnight, as you shared with us. And I can also share that the same thing, for me, uh, having this vision of being in this creative role as a producer, it you have to put in the work to get there. And then eventually what happens is things start to fall into place. You start off very kind of small, humble beginnings, but it's almost about persistence of the mindset. And that's something else that I want to talk to you about, as a next point, that it's wonderful to have, okay, well, I to be kind of romanced about the idea, but there's actually a lot of work that has to be done to create what we want, our vision, to make that a reality. So it's not like we're watching a screen anymore with our vision. It's actually all around us. It's starting to manifest. So I almost feel it's like this level of practicing this self awareness that we have to make that shift. And you mentioned also success minded from that journey of being among your negative thoughts, where we don't have that use anymore because we aren't hunters and gatherers. But in fact, we now have more use for the visualization and to connect to that abundance mindset, to that abundance frequency or vibration, that is out there. And uh, and pretty much what happens is, there's this kind of this internal struggle, and I feel like this is here, every day it's at a different level for me personally. But when something does happen where it becomes, I'm not going to say easier, but it does start to flow into place. And that's when things start to happen. Uh, and for example, like the phone starts to ring, and suddenly I'm on another project, another movie. It's just like this flow of energy. So my question to you and your thoughts on this is about this self-awareness piece and how important that is. Love you to expand on that.
Or you mean self-awareness in case of manifestation?
Yes, and kind of like the process.
Right, right. So self-awareness is very important in my opinion, but it's also important. I mean, you have to, at one point, you have to stop thinking about the negative thoughts, right? So for that to happen, you need to be aware of what's going on in your mind. The best way to do that, of course, is to start the practice of meditation. So if you're listening to this and you don't already meditate, I highly recommend you do. Right? For some people, it's natural. Like we could catch our thoughts mid sentence, mid thinking. We could catch it and change it. But for most people, I've noticed this. I've talked to a lot of people about this. For most people, that process isn't always natural. Like for me, when I was a kid, when I was little, at one point it came natural to me, but then I lost it somehow. I don't actually know. I didn't actually need to meditate when I was a kid because now that I actually meditated, I realized a lot of meditation, uh, a lot of the things that are required to do in meditation, I did as a child. So there was some kind of self awareness that I gained from it, uh, some kind of control over my thoughts that I gained. So you can say it came a bit natural to me in the meditation and becoming self-aware. But most people, to develop this skill, you need to start meditation. Now, what meditation does, especially if you do a guided meditation, which I recommend on YouTube, the masters who are teaching you, the teachers, they're they're teaching you how to basically let go of your thoughts, but also be aware of your thoughts and not judge yourself. Judge yourself for the things you think. Like your brain is not broken. We would like to think our brain is broken, but it's not broken. It's functioning as it should. Right? You gotta trust your brain. You gotta love your brain. Like don't judge it. Don't beat it. Like if a child makes a mistake, you shouldn't beat the child. It's a unfortunate reality. In some places, they do, but we shouldn't beat him or her because that is gonna lead to bad things further in the future. Same thing when your brain is like your child, right? So if your brain thinks of something and you basically scold or judge or basically demean your own brain for thinking a certain thing, it's not going to serve you in the long term. What you should be doing is embrace it. Okay, I thought about it. Now I'm not going to think it, right? what happened happened. Going forward from from this point on to the future, I'm not gonna think like that. Every time I move towards thinking that way, I'm gonna stop it mid thought. I'm gonna stop it and I'm gonna think of something positive. A good example would be, let's say you're you're going to work and you get stuck in traffic. I had a lot of experiences like that, right? I would go to college and I would get stuck in traffic because city planning, no. But the thing is, initially I was really angry. I was going to miss a class, but as I matured over my time in my college, I realized, oh, it's a great opportunity to finally listen to that audiobook that I bought a month ago that I haven't even started listening to. So I just put on my headphones, started listening to the audiobook, and surprisingly, when I turned that negative emotion into a positive one, surprisingly, the traffic starts moving. Which is, I mean, I win both ways. Right? From the point of being stuck in traffic to college, I can still listen to that audiobook and I'm going to reach college. That's great. It's that thing you talked about, like when we shift our perspectives, things change in the physical world. It's it seems magical to us, but I don't know. Maybe it is. We don't know. We still don't know how the universe works. Uh, yes, there are theories about it. There are proofs about it. We know some aspects of it that are true in our physics, in our mathematics, and sciences. But it's some. I forgot who said it. Nothing is a fact. It's all about opin- an opinion of someone else. That opinion, in some cases, can be proven with natural sciences, like natural established proofs. In some cases, it cannot be proven. So, what I'm trying to say is, we still don't know the mysteries of the universe. We still don't know how things work. So, when you think positively, something just clicks in the grand scheme of the universe, something just clicks and things start happening in your favor. You know, another example of this is when you're there are some points in life when you feel like nothing is happening. Like I'm getting no jobs, like I'm making no money, how will I feed my family and how am I gonna pay this month's rent? I'm gonna get evicted and stuff like that. Bad things are happening in your life. But suddenly you get so much work, you get so many clients, you make so much so you start making so much money that is considering you still have a positive attitude in those negative times, suddenly the universe rewards you for it. Like uh, in Hindi, there is a phrase, uh, "Bhagwan jab deta to deta chappar phar ke," which roughly translates to, when God doesn't give you anything, He does not give you anything. But when He gives things to you beyond what you can even imagine. Right? When He wants to, when God or the universe or whatever you want to believe, when things start happening, they start happening all at once, all too quickly. Like if you're like providing a service, you'll realize you have so many clients you cannot even keep track of them. Like I had a few more a moment like that a few months ago, but then everything dries up again, right? It's you have to accept those realities of life as they come. Like you have to accept this is how things work, right? And you have to move on, keep a positive attitude, because when you keep a positive attitude, the bad times that you're facing right now are not going to extenuate, and eventually good times are going to come, which are going to be so good they'll be beyond your wildest imaginations. Anything you want to add to that, Indra?
Yeah, just a few things. Something really powerful that you just mentioned was also when you put things out there into the universe, there's always a response. Okay, so I mean, we've all noticed that what we're thinking, often there can be a response, and whether that response is a lesson, whether it's whether it's something that we need to learn as a lesson, whether it's something that we've been creating by our thoughts, and sometimes we don't even know it. But the universe is constantly listening, I feel. And that's why it is important to, moment by moment on a daily basis, to make that investment of time to be with yourself. And you mentioned the importance of meditation. And that's something that, look, meditation now is so accessible to all of us just by way of, and it's so different for all of us, okay? Meditation can be sitting outside of your house, in the garden, in a park, in wildlife, just sitting with yourself. And yes, my favorite is guided meditation, as you mentioned, success minded. And there is much access to finding that online. And by all means, if any of my guided meditations serve anybody, I would love that too, because that's why I created them. And most of them are 10 minutes and under, except for the chakra meditation, which takes 20 minutes because it's a lot more intensive, going through all of your energy meridian points in your body thoroughly. So it's the only one that I have that went for 20 minutes. But the benefits of being with yourself, of the importance of that, is incredible. Because if you dedicate that amount of time, it could just be 10 minutes a day, it could be 20 minutes, whatever your piece is, or you just start off small. Doesn't have to be overwhelming. You don't have to be sitting there for hours zenning out. In fact, it's actually more powerful, I feel, to do this in smaller doses. And that was the motivation for creating these shorter guided meditations and then guided affirmations. So that brings me to the thought of, also, in addition to meditation, or sometimes change it up with yourself, is to use affirmations. I mean, affirmations can never not serve you. They're just going to serve you. And the idea behind the guided meditations is that it starts to feed your subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind is a piece that is just always overactive. So, when we talk about the thousands and thousands of thoughts that are being generated, just every day, that we have no power to monitor. I mean, we are not like computers. Our minds are powerful and wonderful, but they certainly aren't at that level to catch every single piece. So that's why it's so important to do some things for yourself, to start creating more of this positive environment in your mind. And the more that's created, those thoughts generate, and they convert into our emotions. And that's the thing. When we have the thoughts, they turn into our emotions. Our emotions are powerful, and we send out these vibrations into the universe. And that's when we're going to get a reply. At some point, it is going to happen. And whether it's small steps, and then, just like The Secret, with Bob Proctor, it's always important how they emphasize taking action. So, taking action to create more of the good thoughts, of the good vibes. It doesn't stop. Oh, okay, something happened. Oh, I can just stop now. it doesn't work like that. The universe doesn't work like that. You have to start building on that foundation. And, there's so many different tools that you can use, um, meditation, affirmation work, journaling, and just having that solitude time with yourself. For some people, it's actually maybe even moving. It could be even, um, look, I still love to do a morning stretch routine with yoga, but some of my real Zen moments are when I'm doing a ballet class, believe it or not. So it's a movement to music. And so find the thing for you. For some people, it can be hiking. Some people, it's walking along the beach. And then there's so many different variations of just sitting in stillness, sit out in your garden, sit in a park. But it's actually about taking time to be with yourself. So that's kind of some of my thoughts on just building on that point that you raised, success minded.
So, your point on The Secret, have you watched The Secret, the movie in, I think, 2006 or 7? Have you watched that movie?
Oh, I love that movie. It's just incredibly powerful.
I try to see it, like, try to watch it last night, as just to see if I can add something from that movie. And, the information in that movie is good, but the transitions, man, they're like cringy as hell, like 2005, man. That was a different time. For me, looking back, you know, at a work of a previous generation, man, I cringed like hell, man. It was, I was thinking at that point, man, there should be a remake of this movie. Indra should produce it. She could make it really good. I mean, it was like, for me, but I was just cringing with pure cringe. I don't know how to say it. Uh, but regarding the thing with you mentioned earlier about affirmations, I have a little question for you. So you mentioned, I mean, I understand this point with meditation, like guided meditation helps. Like somebody's helping you meditate, you don't know how to meditate, somebody's helping you meditate, they're taking you through a journey, and you do a good job of it with your videos. But I believe affirmations are something that should come from you. Like they should reflect your life, uh, your the circumstance in your life and where you want to be. Like nobody should tell you what your affirmations should be. They're saying the affirmations either as a general affirmation, like which to be honest, general affirmations, I don't think usually help people. It's just my opinion, but I don't think if it isn't custom, I don't think most people are gonna benefit from it. And do you think your affirmations should reflect uh, the circumstances in your life and where you are to where you want to be? And do you think affirmation videos help in that respect? What do you think about that?
Okay, that's a great idea to talk about actually, because we are talking about thoughts become things. And what I like to do is, and I think this was a great example of yesterday of a conversation that we were having in the space. And so originally I wasn't doing guided affirmations on my YouTube channel. I was just sort of focusing on the meditations, guest interviews, and the lessons learned. And then what happened was I was getting a lot of emails, DMs from people that some people weren't really used to meditating per se, or so what I actually created was kind of a stepping stone. For example, I created a show on gratitude, about living with gratitude, and somebody reached out to me and just said to me, and asked, like, well, okay, so how do I kind of get into the mood to be in, in the gratitude mode? Like, I love the idea of it and everything, but so I'm not really into meditation just yet. Is there something else that I could be doing? So I started creating some specific affirmations to kind of help bridge the gap for people. And the gratitude affirmations were created to help with this gratitude topic that I was talking to a few people behind the scenes, in the DMs and emails about, that they were kind of just struggling because of things that were happening, in their life. And we'd just been through this whole virus situation, so the world was different, and they were starting from, they felt it was almost like at zero to start in a gratitude mindset. So I started to create a series of affirmations on specific topics. And the gratitude affirmation was one of those first ones that I created. And then, that was specifically for a purpose of, to go partner and partner with, supporting the gratitude show and the gratitude meditation. And what was interesting is it and this was only 3 or 4 people that were going on this little journey and trying, to build on their gratitude after everything had happened. And so the gratitude affirmations was kind of like a more of a starting point to them to shift their mood. And what I do before, whether it's a guided meditation or an affirmation, is I prepare the person that's going through the journey of the affirmation meditation with some breathing exercises so that they're prepared to take on, to breathe into their being the affirmation, the words. So I'm not just kind of dumping, for people that haven't used one of my guided affirmations, the words on you. It's an experience. So the guided affirmation idea was to help these community members to connect. Visually they were looking at something beautiful, um, and then they were hearing the words, and then they were seeing the words. So it became an entire kind of experience for them to sit through the affirmation, prepare their body to receive these beautiful words, and to set the tone. So that was the idea of creating the guided affirmations series. And I do have a list of things that have spurred on and requests from people on different topics. But so far, I have the gratitude affirmations, the positive vibe affirmations, morning affirmations, attract your tribe affirmations, law of attraction, and I'm enough affirmations.
Okay, okay, now that makes a lot of sense. But still, like, I get the guided meditation thing again, but you know, and it's my personal opinion that if you're making affirmations for people, like, I do believe it's a bit too much hand holding. And as content creators, we do want to handhold our audience, just so we can help them better. I mean, that's kind of the nature of content creation, I would say. But I also do believe that if a person goes through that journey by himself, you know, and it's all a part of the journey, right? To understand where you stand, understand where you're going, and then create an affirmation as a link to where you are to where you're going, right? So I still do believe it should be something customized, something you should come up for your life. Like, you shouldn't outsource per se it to somebody else, you know. And videos like this, and I do appreciate the effort you're putting in, the care you're putting in, but wouldn't wouldn't make more sense if you, let's say, create videos about uh, I don't know, like teaching people, okay, this, this is what, these are what affirmations are. This is how you make affirmations. And then I'm going to release a series of affirmations, but don't use them as they are, but because they're not customized to you. You take them as templates, okay? These are what affirmations look like. This is what an affirmation should look like. And then people can fill in those, basically replace words from that and that fit their life, right? Like, say, let's say a present tense affirmation would be, I am happy and grateful. Great. But you might already be far ahead in your gratitude journey. So you replace I am happy and grateful. So I don't know, I'm happy and at peace because you're already in gratitude, right? You have achieved that in your life. So next thing you want to achieve is peace, in your life. You want to be happy and peaceful. So you create that affirmation, and then you achieve it basically. You repeat it every day, and ultimately you achieve it. What do you think about something like that, Andrew?
I think you raised a really good point that people are at different levels, and I think the thing is that at the time, well, still there's some people that have requested that I create certain things. So I think for some people, and I know that definitely 2 out of the 3 or 2 out of the 4 are definitely very busy people. They have corporate jobs, and I think they just want something put together. Like they really don't have time to sit there and contemplate. I think that's why they were asking me, and this is still pretty new for them. Now they're doing meditation. They're using my meditation videos and things as well. But so I think there's going to always be people at different levels, and I think that's a great idea to actually put a video together. But the thing is, there's always going to be people that just want, okay, I want this thing, and I want a guide on how, I just want to sit down and I want to receive these affirmations. So I think it's going to be different for everybody. And certainly catered ones, which I also talk about, is finding, I mean, in many of my shows, is ways to find affirmations for yourself and ways to look for them and research them. I mean, there's so many beautiful books on affirmations. You can do a search and find a lot of affirmations. Certainly, the affirmations that I've created are just kind of my original ideas on specifics to support people, but everybody's going to be at different levels. And if people have been practicing affirmations for many years, and I know a lot of people are, have been doing that, then they're at the stage where they know how to create their own. They have the examples, they've been working with them. So I think it's important to also support everybody at different levels, the people that also just don't know where to start. And some people who are just too busy because they're juggling family, career, everything else. So I guess the thing is, there is something there if it speaks to you in support, and I created that for my community. But yeah, at whatever level that you're at out there in the community, cater to that. Absolutely, there's always going to be different levels of everything, and we have to also be aware of that. So yeah, I agree with you. But let's bring back the topic, because we're 5 minutes from the hour. And also, if anybody, we are talking, let me just reset the room for many of you that have just chimed in. Welcome, welcome. Um, Today in the Positivity Vibe Tribe, Thursday is our ongoing series on um, talking with my friend at Success Minded, and our accounts are coming together in this unity to talk about many, many topics that we share, that we have passions for, and to present new ideas, to come together, to be of support to this community and to Success Minded. To his community as well. So, we are talking about thoughts become things, and we're just getting into some of the tools that we can use in order to enhance our thoughts to being more elevated, positive, shooting at a higher frequency at any moment, at any time. And so we were just kind of talking about affirmations, about meditation, journaling even came up, solitude, all these things. So just resetting the room. And welcome to everybody in the space. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's really an amazing conversation. And Success Minded, do you think it's time to see if we have any speakers that want to come up and share or ask us questions?
Yeah, I'm all out of ideas to say. I would love to hear if
Okay.
anybody has any questions, any things they could add. Keep the conversation going because I'm out. I'm all out of ideas.
Yeah, we do. Sometimes we have those moments as well, believe it or not, besides all of our content that we're generating. Okay, let's welcome some people up to talk about this concept of thoughts become things. Okay, so the first person that was waiting there, okay, Ugly Ducky, you are invited up first. Okay, so welcome to the Positivity Vibe Tribe and this talk on thoughts become things. We're going to have Ugly Duck first. Are you able to hear us? Um, Ugly Ducky, are you able to speak? Um, I see that your mic's off. If you're having technical difficulties, try leaving the space and come back, and I'll slot you back up as a speaker because it looks like you, yeah, okay, perfect. Technical difficulties. All right, thank you. All right, so let's go to our next speaker, the real Carlos. Welcome.
Hello, hello. Good morning, Indra, and good morning, everybody. I sort of stumbled into this space yesterday, and I really like what you guys are talking about. I hopefully will stay on point here, kind of following what you've been talking about so far. You were mentioning about meditation and how some people have a hard time with it. I am one of those people because my mind is always going to the next thing. What I do and what I've been getting into lately is this idea of Japanese forest bathing, which is basically a walk. So if you guys have, like a nice green area where you live, just kind of walk, feel the smells, feel the sounds, and use it as a meditation starter, sort of to calm your mind down. So that was one of the things I wanted to share. The other one was putting this positive vibe thing together. For me, for example, I have older neighbors in the back of my house, and so we started texting each other. So I want to make sure that they're doing okay. And he's not a big talker, but he's getting into this technology. He got a nice phone and stuff. So this morning, I wanted to make sure they were doing okay. I said, "Good morning. How are you? I hope your wife is feeling okay. She contracted COVID like 3 days ago, and so on and so forth." And then he replied with. Well, doing okay considering all of our freedoms are being taken away. So he wanted to take the conversation into a very negative part. Here in America, we're all stuck in this politics kind of thing. And I'm sort of an agnostic, I kind of only get engaged in things that I have some power to change. And so I kind of replied, well, I hope you're having a beautiful day. If you need anything, let me know. If you need a quick run to the store, whatever. And like 20 minutes later, he came out here and he dropped off, a nice plate of biscuits. So I don't know. That's kind of an affirmation, positive energy out there. And I got something that I wasn't expecting. So that was really nice. The other thing I wanted to say, Indra, or actually more of a question, is you guys have probably been in this space for a while, and you guys know what you're talking about when these guided affirmations that I keep hearing. I know nothing about them. Could you maybe explain that a little bit for me? And again, it's really nice to be here with all of you. And I'll just pass the mic back to Indra.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for joining yesterday and today. Really appreciate you being here. And I think that was a wonderful example of how meditation is different for everybody. You mentioned the Japanese forest wandering, and for many people, it is about hiking or being in nature or sitting in your garden. So find what connects to you and resonates with you and do more of that. And I love that you found that connection. So that's wonderful. So with the series that I created of the guided affirmations, it was specifically to cater to some people that were struggling with trying to get into the mood to get to do, say, for example, this first one, which was the gratitude, and uh, it was just to sort of give them another tool. So what I like to do in my guided affirmations is to prepare, the person to receive the affirmations, like in a relaxation kind of way. So that always happens with breathing, and I really focus on the breath work, whether it's on my YouTube videos for meditation or for guided affirmations, and because the breath is really important in relaxing us, in getting us ready to receive the goodness from the affirmation, in opening ourselves up, because often, we're kind of wound tight in our life with technology, with life, with the schedules, and there's a piece of relaxation that I really feel is important, and that's really been carried through. So, I mean, I would welcome you to. There's actually an example of there's actually thoughts become things up in the nest, and you can also find my YouTube channel through my profile. The links in the profile. I mean, I would welcome you to try that, and if you have any feedback, I would love that from anybody actually in the space. I always welcome feedback, and I've been really delighted with a lot of the feedback, and some of the feedback has spawned on to create new meditations, new affirmations that are guided. But really, it's about when I prepare the affirmations, it's about like a goal, it's about a focus of a topic. I mean, there is one that I created, which was positive vibe affirmations, and that was more just general to, in the lifting of your vibration, in introducing, good thoughts into the mind in general. Whereas some of the other ones are very specific. I did a show on I am enough, and I had a couple of people that reached out to me, and they were just kind of searching for. They were saying, is there something like, we're doing your other affirmation work, and it would be great if you could kind of give me something to kind of relax, and I would be able to absorb these affirmations. So, they were basically asking for help with this area of I'm enough, and, all about our self worth area. And so I created that specifically, uh, catering. So you can have affirmations that are general, and you can have affirmations that are very specific to working on something. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it did. And I will look you up on YouTube. Thank you so much, Indra. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Success Minded, did you have anything to add to that?
You answered it perfectly. It was, of course, a question for you, but so point you brought up, Carlos, was about the Japanese forest bathing. I wanted to expand a bit on that. I mean, look, a lot of us, even here in this space, force ourselves to accept that meditation is the only way to relax our mind, to be conscious of our thoughts. And yes, that is true for a lot of people. But you might also be one of those few individuals, and there is no study done on this subject, so I cannot tell you the exact statistics about for what percentage people meditation might not work. But if you're one of those few people who cannot meditate, there's always other avenues available. Like I hear people tell me that going to the gym, lifting weights, that feeling that pump in their muscles, that's therapeutic and meditative to them. That's what clears their mind. For, I don't know, for let's say endurance runners, running in the morning or in the whenever they do it, the act of running is their meditation. That's what clears their mind. It was, in fact, it is quite true for even my father. He does not meditate, but his thinking is crystal clear. I mean, you could uh, ask him anything, you could tell him to do anything, and he does not do anything instinctively. He's a deep thinker about anything, and his thinking is like crystal clear. I mean, I struggle to write because my thoughts are all over the place. But when you tell him to write fiction, like right at this moment, he could just take a pen and start writing because his thoughts are so crystal clear. And that's because he runs in the morning. And now he has arthritis, so he cannot run. He exercises a bit, uh, basically a bit of cardio, running in a place. That's therapeutic. That's meditative for him. So you gotta find out what's the thing that clears your mind, what's the thing that makes you conscious of your thought, makes your thinking clearer. You have to try out different things, the ones I mentioned, and also like Google it up. Like, what do people find uh, therapeutic and meditative? Try it all. I'm personally in the process of trying out different things to see what's right for me. Sure, like meditation work, but I want to see if there is something even more effective in my case. So if you are listening to this right now, I want you to do the same. Go out, Google what people find therapeutic, try out everything, and give each one a bit of time. Nothing happens all at once. To see the effects, you need to give it some time. Give everything some time, and then you realize, even if it takes a year or two, at, at the end of that period, you're going to realize what's the right thing for you. Because you got to do things that are right for you. Don't take general advice. Don't take general advice on the things we're talking about today about manifestation. Do what's right for you. Find out what's right for you. Customize it for you, for your life circumstances, and just do you. Let's move on to the next speaker now. Lance, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing well, success minded, and hi to Indra and to Stephen and to all of our fellow listeners and other speakers. It's so far so great on PVT Spaces. Always a great time here. So what I was gonna say about our thoughts becoming our things, I found out like we can trap ourselves into a narrative sometimes with telling yourselves a bad story or a good story. We have to rewire our hard drive into our computer of our own mindset if we want to continue going down the road with either good habits or bad habits. So those actions and our thoughts dictate where we go or what we do. And I found out when I was trapped trapped into those types of thoughts, I was also not understanding at the time why I was feeling stuck. Now that I understand that, I was stuck with warping myself into limiting beliefs, like the fear of success at one point, or the fear of failure at another point. So when I corrected those actions, and I can understand where I was going with those, I felt that I was no longer. I felt like I was becoming more and more free, because you understand what trapped you, and then you no longer feel like that where you're out in a dead sail zone into irons. So that also helped me out. And when you were talking about success mind, about changing our thoughts, changing our actions, until we make those changes, you're still going to be where you are. And I always say to different people, if you're on wherever you are in your journey, you're meant to be where you're meant to be. Just don't overanalyze it and think it too much. To just know wherever you're meant to be is exactly where you are right now.
Thank you so much. Success Minded, did you have any thoughts from Lance?
Man, the last sentence you said, I mean, it's so beautiful. Where you are is where you're supposed to be. Man,
Mm-hmm.
we we all talk about this thing about destiny, or either destiny exists or life is all our creation, and it's all up to perception, right? But if you think about it, we create our destiny, but also, like, does destiny exist? Like, were we always destined to be here? And the way you said it, it's so beautiful, man. Kudos to you.
Yeah, thank you, man. I always have come down to, when people have talked to me about how they want to grow with a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. I always will say to them, well, if you want to go down the path of where you don't really want to change, I said, then that's the fixed mindset, and you'll warp yourself more and more into it. And just like we'll mold ourselves. I like what Robin Sharma talked about with the brain tattoo. If we go down into those bad habits or good habits, we're giving that brain tattoo, and then it takes time, actually 66 days to change it, and to mold us and shape us into a new one. So once you understand where you're going at with that old mindset, which is the fixed, we get sick and tired of that old mindset. And then I said, okay, it's time to supercharge our life and level up and gear up into going into forward to the growth mindset.
Thanks so much for sharing, Lance. And hey, Success Minded, I just wanted to also chime in. Whenever Lance is in the space, he's a regular in the community. That means that his mum, Karen, is there. So we just want to say a big hello and love, light, and blessings to Karen, and hope she's feeling well.
Yeah, Karen's just in the background feeling a lot better today. Thanks, Indra, and Success Minded too. With this, it's just she's not really fully woken up yet, so she's here. She can hear. So thank you for that.
I know we shifted the space 3 hours earlier. Karen will have to listen to the replay when she's awake. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Okay, always a pleasure having you both in the space. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, I just wanted to also thank everybody for lighting up the chat. I will definitely be catching up later, and I know that Success Mindset will drop in there as well. Thank you so much to lighting up the space. I just responded to the real Carlos. I put a link to my website in there to respond to you, and also for anybody up in the who's currently in the space, you can either find my YouTube channel. Up in the nest, there is a show there, or if you go to my profile in the link tree, and also I'll post one more time here to make it easier in the chat for everybody, because I have a couple of people requesting the links, so I'll make sure that you have all that information. So thank you everyone for lighting up the chats as well. Really appreciate you all. Okay, let's welcome. Let's Stephen. I know you were sitting there for a while. We've had some technical difficulties getting co-hosts up. Did you want to chime in or have any thoughts on what you've been observing in this space so far?
Things were going so fluidly that I put forth the conscious effort to stay out of the way.
Okay. The space is it's been an amazing. It really is an amazing space. The conversations and all the content here, but really appreciate having you here for your support and everything. Okay, so let's go to our next speaker. Warm welcome, the real Carlos.
Hi, Hindra. Gosh, I don't know what to add to this conversation, but I just want to go back to something success minded said about meditating and how it is really a personal kind of choice and endeavor, I guess, for us to find what it is that facilitates us from clearing our mind from troubles and daily things. I mentioned going for walks, and I go for long walks of an hour to an hour and a half, and they really make my day. Other things that I've done, he mentioned working out. That also works. So for me, anything that's sort of attached to an activity seems to work. And here's a weird one. I really, really relax when I'm doing dishes because it's such a numbing activity. It kind of takes my mind out there, and it really does help me relax. Um, but anyway, that's all I have to add. Thank you for the links, and I'll pass the mic back to you.
You're very welcome. I love that. Doing an activity and doing the dishes, that can be relaxing. And actually, for many of us, even preparing food, like food preparation, making dinner, all these things, can be relaxing for us. And it's really just about fine tuning what it is for you. I am definitely also, I know I mentioned, I like to stretch, a bit of yoga, ballet. Uh, and walking and hiking, but I also fall into the category of I do like a good weight training session as well. So, sometimes you just have to be intuitive with what you need. It could be different things on different days, and so. Carlos, what you just mentioned is that you're able to find those things in different activities, or you're actually able to shift that relaxation focus into just a activity that you're doing. Your body is keeping busy, and that's really interesting because when our bodies are moving, it frees the mind somewhat, because there's an activity. So it really is about fine tuning. I love it so much. Success minded. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, like I already said, like everybody here, if you just joined, we were up a few minutes ago. We were talking about finding the type of meditation that works for you. That might not even be considered meditation in somebody else's scale, but who cares about that, right? We're here to create our own scales, right? Do what do what's right for you. Again, Google the things people find therapeutic, that people find meditative, and then try out different things. Again, try them out for some time, a few months. Uh, you know, try them all out, and ultimately you're gonna find the thing that's most effective for you to clear your thoughts, clear your mind, and it might after all this after all this process, you might find that it's in fact meditation that that's right for you. But until you go through that process, you wouldn't know. And of course, it's a thing that's quite controversial in some circles. Like, should you go through failure just to find that all you've been searching was underneath your feet uh, all along? I say yes. because otherwise you don't know the value of the things that have been with you all this time. It's only after you go through that journey that you fully start to understand, what's right for you and how valuable the thing is for you. So yeah, I just wanted to add those few lines there, and not really adding much to the conversation because we already spoken about it. Back to you, Indra.
Thanks so much, Success Minded. Well, I think now would be also a good time to start to wrap up this space, because we have gone on quite the journey with this thoughts become things, and we've also covered off on many of the tips and tools in that discovery process. We certainly talked about the other aspects of awareness, and also actually incorporated some of the thought processes and ways from some of the gurus, including Buddha, where this concept all picked up from. And I just want to read out actually one of my favorite quotes from Buddha. We are shaped by our thoughts, we become what we think. So that whole concept of thoughts become things, that the secret really was pivoted off was based on that small but impactful quote. So yeah, Stephen, do you have any last thoughts about this concept, about this space?
It was a beautiful flow. I enjoyed listening to the two of you immensely, and this was legitimately worth waking up for.
Thank you so much, Stephen. That's wonderful that you felt like it was a good cause to wake up for. Awesome. We've had the most amazing speakers here today. Success Minded, what are your last thoughts on our journey today on this space?
Firstly, I would like to apologize for all the people in America who had to wake up early just to hear us speak. I'm really sorry, but it's the time zone thing, man. What can we do? Secondly, I would like to thank everybody who came up to speak, to add value, to add questions. We really appreciated it. We love to have conversations. Actually, it gets quite lonely on the stage, So I hope from the next space onwards we get more speakers, more questions, so that we can carry on this conversation even further, even longer. Who knows? But it was fun today to have so many people up. You asked some great questions. You added some really good value, and I really appreciate it. I hope to see it in the next spaces. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much, everybody.
Nicely done. Uh, okay, so I also want to point everybody up to the nest, because there are um, lots of things that are posted up there. Starting from the far right, when I talk about the nest, the dots above this space that you can scroll back and forth. So the very first thing up there is a YouTube video, Thoughts Become Things. It's under 10 minutes, and it's sort of like it's my take on Thoughts Become Things, and just check that out if you're curious. Plus, you'll see all of the meditations, guided meditations, and guided affirmations on that website, on the YouTube site there. Next, thank you so much to our sponsors for the show, Wordsmith Pakistan. Thank you for your support and everything you do behind the scenes. And they have great content development support if you need anything. Also, the Positivity Vibe Tribe community is up there if you would like to join it. We are almost at the 7,000 mark, I believe. We're getting very close, and it is such a vibrant, warm community. Thank you all for making it the community that it is. Your beautiful quotes, inspirations, and supporting all the members it really is. It warms my heart every time I visit. And also, Success Minded has dropped a beautiful post up there too from his amazing content. Do make sure that you are following Success Minded if you are not already, because he has so much valuable content on his site, newsletters, everything. Make sure you grab those. Actually, he has 2 newsletters a week, which is really incredible. So do check out his page and everything he has to offer. Wow, what an incredible space it certainly has been. I'm so thankful for everybody here in the space. Thank you to my co-host, Stephen. Thank you for being here and supporting. Thank you to our wonderful other host, Success Minded, and everybody. This is going to be an ongoing series. You can look forward to every Thursday where Success Minded and I sit down and we have these conversations and we work through so many different amazing topics, sharing our learnings with you and our journey where we're at the moment. So that's something to look forward to, and we are excited to invite more speakers up. Thank you so much to the speakers that came up today, asking your wonderful questions and your contributions. Thank you to also, I want to shout out to our partners, Bunsen and Beaker with the Positivity Vibe Tribe. There are actually, I think I posted, I posted their show for Saturday night, Pet Chat in the Nest. If you are a pet lover, do join us in Pet Chat with Bunsen and Beaker. Thank you to the listeners, lastly, for all that you are bringing to this beautiful space with your energy, your support. Thank you for jumping into that chat. We have over 30 comments in the chat. Thank you so much for bringing that to life. And as I mentioned, Success Minded and myself will be checking out the chat afterwards. We're going to go in there, like, read, and comment, and just make sure that you guys are all covered off. So thank you so much for getting involved in the chat. The Positivity Vibe Tribe will be back on Monday night, and we have a special guest. Kimberly K. Scott will be our guest, and we'll be talking about mindfulness. So really looking forward to that, everybody. And in the meantime, hey, you go off and have the most amazing rest of your Thursday, bright and early here at 7:30 in Pacific Standard Time in Los Angeles. Yes, I had to get up at 5:30, but it was so worth it for this amazing space. And in the meantime, we in this amazing Positivity Vibe Tribe, we're sending you out love, light, and blessings.